Okay, we are live. Gentlemen, I am back today with you on the 5th of December for an incredibly pertinent protocol as always. This is the Elite Christmas Protocol. This is how to full send Christmas socials and Health Max simultaneously. You thought you could only have one, but you can in fact have both. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So let's get straight into it. Christmas is upon us, the most joyous and social time of the year, and this leaves many of us in a conundrum. You don't want to scrap all of your hard work. You don't want to spend December nursing hangovers, feeling like garbage, and just spending no time at all tending to yourself, your improvement, your development, and working on your goals. You don't want to just push everything off your plate and wait till January. There's a lot of time to do good work, to progress forward. We don't want to leave it all to the new year. However, we also want to enjoy Christmas. You don't want to be that guy that is working all the live long day through the Christmas season. It's incredibly miserable. You might feel as though you're on some S tier lone wolf winter arc, but I think you will only live to regret it. So go out, have fun, and still work on your business, work on yourself. You can do both of these things together. You can actually use, and this is what we were talking about in the last video with the corporate hacks, how to not get cooked by your corporate job, but actually use it to your advantage. We're going to do the same thing with Christmas. We're going to look at what are the inherent things baked into Christmas, into the Christmas season, that some people might look at as detriments to us, to our goals. How can we actually flip those on their head and use them, leverage them to our advantage and actually get something out of them? That is what this is all about. Let's get straight into it. The first thing I want you to do is prioritize lifting. Look, you can be the most disciplined dieter in the world. I mean, I don't know why you're trying to get shredded at Christmas. You're fighting an uphill battle, but let's say that you are. Put this in perspective. You could honestly be so disciplined, try and be so clean, you're still going to average out a caloric surplus in December. That's the fact of it. If you don't, then you've missed out on, a proper Christmas dinner. You've missed out on Christmas cakes. You haven't had a single mince pie, not drank any booze. So let's just be real. Instead of fighting that uphill battle, let it go. You're going to be in a caloric surplus overall in December. Use that to your advantage to actually slap on that extra bit of muscle that you've always wanted to. Put those calories to work. Obviously, some of those calories are going to be coming from better foods and beverages than others. Leave that as it may. But program in at least 3 lifting sessions a week throughout December. I mean, ideally, get a 4th, get a 5th one in if you can manage it in your schedule, and absolutely full send them because you have the caloric energy to. Schedule them at times when you know they won't be missed. Do not schedule them on a Friday night, for God's sake. Somebody's going to get in touch. I'm back in town. Haven't seen you in 6, 12, 24 months. Let's go down to the pub. You're going to say yes. You're going to miss that session. Front load them in the week. It might not be ideal training, lifting back to back to back days, but get at least 3 heavy lifting sessions in a week. Like I said, ideally get an extra one in, more than usual. You've got the energy to. And you're going to put on some fat, but you're going to put on muscle as well. Whereas if you had all those calories and you didn't prioritize your lifting, you let it slip to the wayside, you didn't get that extra session in, those calories are going to waste. They are all just going to sit as fat. So talking about leverage those calories, put them into anabolism, and try and build as much muscle as possible. But here's the thing. I say that really what I want your focus to be with these sessions is building strength more than the number on the scale. Because when we focus on the number on the scale in a bulk, it ends up being that old school filthy bulk. You end up just justifying eating the most obscene garbage. Filthy Chinese takeaway at 3 a.m. Yep, it's going to help me pack on that muscle. It's going to help you pack on a load of fat, maybe a little bit of muscle, but not really. So better that you focus on the number on the scale. Say to yourself, I want to add 5 kg, 2.5 kg, whatever it is to my squat, bench, deadlift, wherever you're at in your strength conditioning, your lifting journey. Set some ambitious targets with how much strength you're going to put onto your compound lifts in this month. Like I said, you have that caloric energy to make use of it. Number 2, anabolic boozing. So maybe you drink, maybe you don't. Most of us do. Most of us, we do most of our drinking at Christmas. This is just a fact of it. I think Christmas even beats the summer probably when it averages out to, drinks per day. As I have been touting on the Instagram page, not all booze is created equal. So rather than just saying to yourself, yeah, I'm going to drink, and you just drink whatever, actually be strategic and go for the alcohol options with the least toxic and inflammatory load. So as I said, I've got a couple of reels here. You can watch them on the Instagram page. And these are my genuine thoughts. As much as they're a bit tongue-in-cheek, these are my genuine thoughts in terms of alcohol health rankings, which beverages rank best in terms of minimizing that toxic and inflammatory load. Fortuitously, the drinks that carry the least inflammatory and toxic load are also the ones that tend to be lower calorie too. So light spirits, these are your friends. Tequila especially is the only alcohol that is not a depressant. Trust me on that one. Vodka, white rum, gin. These are all S tier options, or at least A tier options, in my opinion. Bonus points if you have them with fresh, unpasteurized OJ. Maybe not the gin, that would go too well. So yeah, those are the gold standard, in my opinion. Least inflammatory and toxic load, lowest calorie as well. You will have them. You can have them with things like OJ. Having a bit of sugar with alcohol, most people look at that as a negative because it's more calories. I actually look at it as a positive on the hydration side of things. Wine can be good. We all, the traditional approach is have red wine because it's so beneficial for you in terms of the polyphenols, the resveratrol. Look, you're not really getting much of those at all once it's been through the whole fermentation process and, mass manufactured. And to be honest, unless your wine is organic and of a really high quality, really good origin, it's going to be full of pesticides and dyes and stuff as well. So wine is going to be below those lighter spirits. And do not even ask me about beer. This guy asked Brosnan about beer. You do not want to end up like him. For God's sake, please stay away from beers, lagers, stouts. They're just estrogens in bottles. Another good rule of thumb, like I said, is to go for sugar and fruit-based drinks over grain-based wherever possible. I love whiskey, and I will have a couple of whiskeys over Christmas, but I am going to prioritise rums instead wherever possible because they're made from sugarcane. They are peaty. They are not full of those GMO grains that unfortunately even the highest quality whiskies are. Oh, and the kicker in this system is eggnog. Eggnog is the Christmas drink of all drinks, and it is anabolic as fuck. We're talking about eggs, whole milk, cream, sugar, cinnamon, which is going to improve insulin sensitivity, aid the digestion. Take out the booze and just sit with those ingredients, and you've got a pretty anabolic shake, basically. So if you can find a proper traditional eggnog, you are onto a winner. Next up, we have detoxification. With all of that said about the booze, about the extra calories, leveraging all of those things, the fact of the matter is drinking booze and eating decadent foods over Christmas is not healthy for you on a pure physical level. Okay, second order effects of having great, social bonding time with loved ones, that's probably going to be better for you than going over your calories for a couple of days. But on a pure physical level, boozing, eating a load of garbage, not good for us. So we do need to be detoxification maxing. And depending on your mentality, this is either going to mitigate the damage done as much as possible, or it's going to allow you to send the hedonism even harder. So here are some protocols to consider when it comes to detoxification. Number one, sauna, hot baths, and exercise. We're talking about sweating here. There's loads of supplements that people tout when it comes to detoxification. Trust me, the best thing you can do on a base level to detoxify is to sweat those toxins out. I mean, obviously, there's multiple pathways in which our body expunges toxins that we've ingested, but do not underestimate sweating. After a heavy night on the food or drink, put yourself through a workout first thing in the morning. That would be the most beneficial thing to do. It's beneficial not only because you're going to be sweating all those toxins out, it's also going to be helpful for resetting your dopamine, amongst other things too. And then get in the bath, get in the sauna, sweat out as much of it as possible. Really get that deep sweat that you get from a sauna, that you get from a really hot bath. Just get as much of it out as possible and then rehydrate with your water, with your electrolytes, everything. Alcohol mitigation. So part of detoxifying, like I said, is choosing the right booze options. It's also as well about leveraging different supplements, different compounds that we have in our arsenal to really ensure we metabolize the alcohol that we're intaking as best as possible. We don't want that post-drink brain fog the next day, that slump that you get into when you're in a hangover. You feel depressed, the world looks darker, and Christmas is supposed to be the lightest time of year. So here is what you can do. Pre-feeding with quality protein, carbs, and fats is obviously a given. Your mum will always tell you before you go out as a kid, line your stomach, have a good meal. Electrolyte maxing pre, intra, and post booze is obviously a given too. Get your electrolytes in at every single opportunity, but you can also consider the following compounds. So before you drink, pre-booze, we want B1, thymine, supplement with that. Bonus points if it's TTFD because it crosses the blood-brain barrier. Taurine, glycine, and knack. During the booze, we have milk thistle, tudka. These are going to aid the digestion, get the bile flow going. Black ginger, help with the metabolism. Lemon, help with the metabolism as well, and a bit of rehydration too. Magnesium L-threonate, keeping the brain nice and sharp despite all of the depressive effects we're putting it under when we ingest that alcohol. And then after, so this is immediately after, before bed, we're talking about magnesium glycinate now. We want to get into that parasympathetic state, put us into a deep state of relaxation as much as possible so we still have a somewhat decent night's sleep. Inositol also going to help with that too. And activated charcoal, we want to start binding up all those toxins that are lying in our gut. Get rid of them. Get rid of as much as possible. Morning after, more activated charcoal. What I do, this is actually a trick that Noah Ryan put in his kind of booze mitigation protocol. He said, have some activated charcoal by your bedside. You will wake up in the middle of the night when you have been drinking. Activated charcoal in the middle of the night. So before bed, during the night if you wake up, and in the morning too. Bind up all of those toxins, get them gone. Shilajit, remineralize first thing in the morning. Rhodiola rosea, or another adaptogen of your choice. This is, I think, the most frustrating thing about drinking is when you wake up the next day, you have plans, you want to go about your day, whether it's work, whether it's, leisure, meeting friends, whatever it is, and you just can't think straight. You're just in that state of thick brain fog. Adaptogens such as rhodiola help me so much just get rid of that brain fog, actually get my brain firing and working again. So that eliminates that. And then for me, that is the most painful part of the hangover. And then as well, sodium max, sugar max, saturated fat max. There's a reason why we always want to mackies the next day after a booze up. Loads of sodium to rehydrate, sugar to rehydrate, that saturated fat as well. All of these things are protected when we're in this very fragile state, this dehydrated state. So have yourself some good saturated fats. Cook yourself a home-cooked fry-up for breakfast. Good fats, butter, get some coconut oil in as well, cooked in beef tallow. Like I said, have your eggs. You've got so many good options without just going to Mackey's for your breakfast. And this whole protocol here, like I said, you can go through this in your own time on the Substack. These are compounds that are tried and tested by myself during that 7-day staged booze up in Croatia that I had this summer. So I can guarantee you firsthand they do work. But saying that they work for me, play about with what works for you. Everybody is different. And as always, when we're talking about supplements, none of this is medical advice. Lymph flow. Tending to the lymphatic system, if you do not know, get to know. It is essential for detoxification. And a couple of simple protocols that we want to implement here without going into a rabbit hole on what the lymphatic system actually is. Do Big Six self-massage. You can find a simple video for this on YouTube, first thing in the morning, and then shake out as well, first thing upon waking. A morning movement. It doesn't have to be exercise, although that is a bonus. A workout first thing in the morning would be the gold standard, but make it at least a 30-minute walk. Basically, in the morning, in our lymph nodes, we have all these toxins that have accumulated there. We need to get them moving so our body flushes them out. It drains them out. And Big Six self-massage, shaking things out first thing in the morning, getting that morning movement in is what's going to do that. It's going to get all those toxins moving and drained out. Right, next up, Christmas charisma maxing. So obviously we've talked about mitigation, but the Elite Christmas Protocol isn't just about mitigating damage. Like I said, it's about leveraging all of the things that are baked into the Christmas season to your advantage, to your favor. And you actually want to get as much enjoyment out of your socials as possible. There's nothing worse than going out and it's a crap night out, going to a party and it's a really mid party. You want to make the most of these social outings. Like I said, you're putting your body through a lot. You want to be getting maximum enjoyment out of it. So getting stuck into Christmas outing and festivities should be about you being in your element as a high-value Renaissance gentleman, not draining your social battery. So here are some supplements you can leverage to catalyze yourself into a generational charismatic and become the life of the party. First of all, we have caffeine. People crash out during booze-ups because they aren't caffeinating in proportion to their alcoholism. Find your ratio. For me, every alcoholic, the best nights I have is where I have one espresso shot in whatever caffeinated beverage that is for every alcohol beverage I have. One drink, one coffee, one drink, one coffee, basically. That's what keeps me on this nice steady level. Alcohol, we know it's a depressant. It does bring us down after that initial lift. The caffeine, obviously a stimulant, brings us up. It balances out that wave. Depending on how you metabolize caffeine, the ratio is going to be different for different people. Find your ratio. Nicotine plus L-theanine. This is the best storyteller in the room stack. Verbal fluency maxing. For me, when I take nicotine and I stabilize it out with something such as L-theanine, my verbal fluency, I keep stuttering over my words, so I clearly have not had my nicotine and L-theanine before shooting this video, but when I do, my verbal fluency is maxed out. You become the best storyteller in the room. If you are able to tell a good story, you become the life of every social gathering. Everyone will look to you. Well, whenever there's an experience that some of you in the group have had and other people don't know about it, when the time comes to tell that story, all eyes are going to be focused on you. You want to be that guy. Tonkat Ali. Everybody knows this as a testosterone booster. However, its most noticeable effects for myself and many others lie in its dopaminergic benefits. So if you haven't tried Tonkat Ali, loads of people see noticeable symptomatic benefits in terms of their testosterone. So increased libido. And yes, that can be to do with increases in testosterone, but libido also has a lot to do with the dopaminergic system. And Tonkat Ali is known to boost dopamine in pretty potent ways. The main thing I notice when I supplement with Tonkat Ali is I just feel happier. I feel more outgoing. I feel more extroverted. So Tonkat Ali could be a good one for you to try when you are going through the Christmas chaos. And then we have Bottea superba, Ginkgo biloba, Rhodiola rosea, adaptogens. This is the stack to be the sharpest strategist in any game. Whether you're playing cards, chess, never have I ever, spin the bottle, I do not care what the game is. If you want to be in your best problem-solving, social dynamic, moving state, you want to leverage androgenic adaptogens such as these. They're going to put you in your most masculine state where you are able to see the state of play before you and influence things in your favor. Sounds kind of Machiavellian, but it works. Another trick for putting yourself in the most socially charming state is to watch your favorite charismatic whilst you get ready. So obviously this isn't a supplement, but it's probably the best protocol of all. If you're shy, you probably just haven't been McConaughey maxing enough. Honestly, a lot of people don't really know the most extroverted version of themselves. They second guess themselves. It's far easier for them at first before they really grow into their own charisma to emulate, their favorite charismatic. So somebody like a McConaughey, like, James Bond, even your favorite actor, your favorite singer, whoever it is, whoever you find the most enigmatic, look at the things about them that are attractive to you. What makes you drawn to the way they speak, the way they move, the way they talk, and try and implement those into your own personality. And over time, these may actually become authentic traits of yourself, or once you get used to becoming a more extroverted, charismatic person in social situations, you'll find your own flavor of charisma through that. So honestly, I think that's a really good hack. Next up, we have anabolic desserts. So like with drinks, not all desserts are created equal. Everybody's sweet tooth comes out in full force during December. Depending on your choice of desserts, the effects that gorging on desserts can have, it can be really varied. If you're eating a load of pastry-based, gluten-based desserts that are full of garbage oils, they're going to be really inflammatory. Like I said, add to that brain fog, those big crashes in energy. You want to go for the dairy-based ones. Get them as anabolic as possible. So what we have on the green list here, tiramisu, I am aware that there is some kind of pastry, there's some kind of biscuit, something flour-based in there, but for the most part, it is a dairy-based dessert, and it's got coffee in as well, so it's pro-metabolic. Panna cotta is just dairy and fruit. Ice cream is just pure dairy. And then we have grandma's Christmas cake and pudding loaded with fruit, and your grandma uses butter, not rapeseed oil. So that is always a green light, no matter what it is, no matter if it's cake-based, whatever. She only puts the best ingredients in there. So that is your green list of Christmas desserts. And then last up, we have Winter Hike Arc. One of my favorite things about Christmas is getting out for the day. I mean, if it snows, that's a bonus. It just feels more Christmassy. But even if it doesn't, even if it's grey, cloudy and rainy, getting out for a long walk with your friends, with your family. Some of my best memories as a kid were getting out for the day on Boxing Day, going for a long walk, eating turkey sandwiches on top of a hill, spending the whole day with my family, with my friends, tea and coffee in the cafe afterwards to warm back up, and then home in time for a lovely home-cooked meal. It's just one big health saga. Get out into the countryside on as long walks as much as possible. Spend quality time with your loved ones. Leave your phone at home. Use it as an opportunity to reset that dopamine system, reset your nervous system. Get rid of all the overstimulation that you build up on your average day. and walk off some of the gluttony whilst doing so. And that's it, guys. So what I will leave you with is this: Christmas, it's a time to celebrate. So celebrate it. Don't hold back. If you want to go out, every single night, go out every single night. Make the most of it. Catch up with those friends that you never get to see at any other time in the year. Spend time with your family. Leverage everything that comes with it to your advantage as much as possible. Meet new people. Be the most charismatic guy in the room. Make the most of it. Enjoy your food. Enjoy your drink. Lift your weights to make use of those extra calories. Just leverage it to your advantage. And look, continue to work on yourself. Continue to work towards your goals. Don't just wait for January, but do remember January's still going to be there. So if something comes across your plate today or tomorrow where you just want to clear things off your plate and go and celebrate, go and enjoy your life, I would encourage you to do so. Have a based and blessed Christmas. If you have any questions regarding this protocol, the best way to get a hold of me is through DMing me on Instagram. And it's worth saying as well that for people who are already thinking about how they're going to win 2026, we are already onboarding clients for the new year. So if you want to find out more about that, again, DM me on Instagram. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one.